Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for this important forum as we prepare for the November 2024 general election. My name is Terry Hopkins, and I proudly serve as the President and CEO of the Grants Pass and Josephine County Chamber of Commerce. This forum is a testament to the importance of civic engagement and the responsibility we all share in shaping the future of our community. Voting is not just a right, but a critical way for each of us to have a voice in the policies and decisions that affect our businesses, our community, and our families. The choice we make at the ballot box will have a lasting impact on the prosperity of our community and Oregon as a whole. As the Chamber of Commerce, we stand as an advocate for our local businesses. Our goal is to ensure that the needs of business owners, employees, and entrepreneurs are heard by those in positions of leadership. That's why tonight is so important. We're bringing together the candidates running for representative of Oregon's House District 3 so that you, the voters, can better understand their values, their strategies, and how they plan to support the growth of businesses and economic development in our district. Our local businesses are the heartbeat of this community, providing jobs, supporting families, and contributing to the quality of life we all enjoy. Tonight you will hear directly from the candidates about how they intend to support that heartbeat and advocate for the policies that will help businesses thrive. Thank you again for being here and for your commitment to the future of Grants Pass and our state. Let's begin. We're joined today by candidate Mark Seligman, candidate for representative of Oregon House District 3. Mr. Seligman, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
You bet. So just a few ground rules. We're going to begin the forum. You have 2 minutes to introduce yourself to the folks at home. We'll run through a series of questions, and those questions, 90 seconds per answer. And then at the end, we'll open it back up for an additional 2 minutes of closing. And with that, let us begin.
Sounds good.
Thanks. I'm going to let you go ahead and just kick it off. Tell folks at home a couple minutes about yourself and why they check that box next to your name.
Okay. My name is Mark Seligman. As Terry said, I'm running for State Representative District 3, 29-year resident of Josephine County, originally from New York City, where BA in sociology and business administration, 2-year degree as well, landscape owner in Grants Pass and Josephine County for 29 years. I am a social liberal / progressive and fiscally conservative. That confuses a lot of people, but it should be pretty obvious what that means. I'm for a lot of the civil liberties that people want. Will defend your private property rights. I will restrict land use regulations, but on the same hand, I'm not a fan of taxation, whether it be on the state level or the county level, especially in a county like Josephine County, which is one of the poorest in the state. The state should step in and fund essential services because you cannot stress out our population anymore. The major resource of Josephine County is the seniors. Whether they be rich seniors or poor seniors, you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you. Unfortunately, most of the candidates that are running never talk about this. It's almost like it doesn't exist, but it's the elephant in the room nonetheless. When you get to be 65 years old, you deserve to be treated well. You don't deserve to just barely get by. As a state representative, the essential services should be paid by the state so that you could have them. And that's what I would work for.
Great. Thanks for letting us know a little bit more about you, Mark. We'll dive into just a couple of ballot measure issues and then really talk about your time at Salem and some of the strategies of representing us here. But if I can, let me start with a measure that we're going to see here in November. Ballot measure 118 has garnered quite a bit of concern from our local business community. The measure imposes a 3% tax on many Oregon businesses with the promise to divvy up the money raised among Oregon's more than 4 million residents, no matter what their age. Are you in support or opposition of Measure 118, and why?
anytime somebody proposes a tax, I'm a little bit suspicious. If the state needs to raise money somehow, and this is going to do it, that makes me even more suspicious. Because if the state has a lot of money, what do you need this for? Now I'm told that each individual will gain $1,600. I'd like to know what's the average that they'd be taxed. If there's some statistics that show they'd be taxed $2,000, then I'm for it. If there's statistics that say, well, they'll be taxed $1,000, I'm not for it. I mean, not taxed, but yeah, that's what the sales tax would be. So it all depends. I'd like to know what those figures are.
Yeah. So that's one coming up. Let's rewind the clock just a little bit, and again, an opportunity maybe in Salem. But as you well know, in November of 2020, Oregonians passed Measure 110, which decriminalized the possession of hard drugs. Just earlier this year, House Bill 4002 made some changes to that, which recriminalized the possession of the drugs in this state. And do you feel that those revisions in 4002 were sufficient? Went too far, and how would you engage in Salem to continue the conversation around Measure 110?
Well, I don't think that hard drugs should be a misdemeanor. On the other hand, if it's a felony and someone seeks out and successfully completes a program of mental health / drug addiction services, then I would drop it back to a misdemeanor. You can't say that fentanyl and methamphetamine, it shouldn't be penalized for that. But again, as a compassionate person, I would treat the soul by these mental health programs and drug addiction services.
Great. So away from the past and kind of into strategizing for the future, let's talk just a little bit about small business support. I mean, you are very familiar with the work that we do, but the Chamber's mission is to support and promote local commerce through communication, partnerships, and advocacy. Obviously, we believe that small businesses are the backbone of our local economy, and just want you to hear what policies you could support or introduce that would help small businesses thrive, and really especially with a focus on rural Oregon, Grants Pass, and our surrounding neighbors.
Well, Josephine County, District 3, if not probably the poorest, or pretty close to the poorest, so whatever can be done to aid them, I'd be for. The people that supply the money in this county are the seniors. So if you want to help local business, you don't tax, overregulate, overfee seniors. Because if you do, they're going to have less money to spend in businesses. So that's my feeling on that one.
Excellent. Let's dive maybe not into that senior population, but into our local workforce. The Chamber hosts business surveys, and year after year, of course, the conversation around workforce development and the challenges finding skilled workers arises. What initiatives would you push forward to improve workforce development and ensure that businesses have access to the talent they need to continue to thrive and grow?
Well, the only way we can thrive and grow, it's like putting the cart before the horse. When our children graduate high school and college, there's your workforce. Unfortunately, the best move they can make is to leave, because they're just not going to make it here because the money isn't here. And that's the cards we're dealt with. You can only do so much. And so, I'd like to see the average income in Josephine County go up. I don't think it goes up. If it goes down or stays the same. So how in the world will we ever get that? We had a local marijuana industry that was doing that, but we kicked it out. There's always going to be bad actors, but we kicked out the industry that raised people's pocket money. The government wanted to benefit from it, and they couldn't, but businesses could, and individuals could. And that's how we get to what your question was. You must benefit businesses and individuals, make life easier for them, not harder through regulations and stuff like that.
Yeah. And as you get industry specific, if we can dive into the travel and tourism industry, growing up here, moving from a logging town to really focusing a lot of our efforts on tourism as a major economic driver, what would you do to enhance that sector and support local businesses that really depend on that outside dollar coming in?
Well, it's a beautiful area. The Rogue River is a definite attraction, but they're trying to do the same thing in Humboldt County. It's not, tourism is not going to do it. Humboldt County doesn't have logging anymore, just like us. Doesn't have marijuana anymore, just like us. It doesn't have seniors either. It has tourism, big deal. It just doesn't get done. I'm sorry, if it had got done, we wouldn't be the poorest county in the state.
So let's dive into that just a little bit. Local lodging tax dollars through current Oregon statute have a restriction to be reinvested in tourism promotion and tourism-related facilities. We hear some reports of folks wanting to take those monies away that would be able to be used in general fund and lessen the amount used in tourism promotion and tourism-related facilities. How do you feel about that? And do you think that we should continue those investments?
It doesn't sound like a bad idea to continue the way you're going if that's the way the money's going to be reinvested. I mean, none of this is going to be anything earth-shaking.
Yeah. Talk a little bit more challenging for some, but legislative collaboration. Obviously up in Salem, you're going to have to collaborate, and we just want to know how you would work with other lawmakers across party lines to pass legislation that support growth of businesses, and again, tying it back to a rural representation of Oregon.
Well, I have a unique situation where I believe on local issues what the Republicans believe. I don't believe what the Democrats believe. The Democratic Party has banned me from their meetings because I don't agree to higher taxation, charter amendment, or land use regulations. On the other hand, the Republican Party likes that. But ultimately, like on national issues, I'm totally aligned with the Democrats, but not with the Republicans. So I'm not running for president, I'm not running for senator, but I think that I could get together on local issues as a rare Democrat with Republicans. That's my appeal, non-affiliated and Republicans and old-style Democrats, not new-style Josephine County Democrats. But you have to collaborate. The last time a presidential election was won by a Democrat in Josephine County was 1944. The Democrats, although I believe in them nationally, are doing something wrong. All politics is local, and in Salem, I would merge with those that felt like me, no matter what party they are.
Yeah, good. Let's take a moment to dream big. So in Salem, you get to pass one bill. You know it's going to pass, but you only get one. What would it be?
Well, being that it's going to be more difficult for us to increase income, I'd want to reduce people's expenses. If you need essential services, law enforcement, schools, senior programs, and there is enough money the way it is now, mental health funding, child abuse funding, you would need to have these programs done, and the state should chip in the money. The state funded marijuana eradication. Now, what's more important? Schools, seniors, youngsters, housing? Any one of those 4 or 5 is more deserving of funds than marijuana eradication. Oh, they're always going to be bad actors, but when you weigh the two, the money should have gone to this group rather than the eradication of cannabis. I mean, there's no perfect world. There are bad actors, but are we going to let these seniors, young people, and law enforcement suffer? If you got the law enforcement from the state, maybe you could go after marijuana that way.
Great. Well, I want to, before we wrap up, really just take the opportunity to begin to engage in these conversations, allowing the folks at home to learn a little bit more about you. But before we go, if you could, just kind of give us a couple more minutes of your time to talk to us about you as our candidate.
Okay, I'm running for State Rep District 3. Mark Seligman, 29-year resident, a worker, okay, not on the city council, not a past state rep. My opponent is Mr. Yunker of real estate, pretty good profession. He doesn't have to worry about money. He sits on the city council. He voted, he was the only vote, 58-1, against child abuse investigation funding. He voted no. Our children are important to us. Anybody that would vote no on that, the only one, is unfit to serve any office. He voted no on mental health funding. Talks about the parks. And, people need mental health. He didn't want to build a shelter. Well, he voted no on mental health funding. Again, unfit for office. And lastly, he voted no. All municipalities get X amount of dollars from the state based on demographics for housing. And he voted no on that one too. There's three things I would have voted completely differently than him. And me and him might agree on some local issues, but, again, socially liberal, fiscally conservative, and socially progressive. That's a very unusual kind of mixture of things. And most important thing is we need elected officials to be compassionate, especially in a county full of seniors. I can't even get a ride for a friend of mine who's a senior because the senior programs in this county are insufficient. You have to make a phone call and wait to get a ride for a senior. It's just window dressing. They make you think they're doing something, but they don't. And I stand out because I am very non-compliant and forceful because I realize these people need help. And that's the way I'll be. I'll be open-minded, but I'll be forceful.
And we appreciate the time and a fairly limited amount of time that we've had today. But we want to give folks at home the opportunity. So if they want to engage with you further in conversation or know more about your campaign, where can folks learn about you and how would you prefer they reach out?
Well, I have a Facebook group.
Okay.
It's called Southern Oregon Community and Politics. You're more than welcome to go on there. My phone number is 541-660-1505. Feel free to call anytime and we can talk.
Great. Mr. Seligman,
all right.
The pleasure's been ours. Thank you so much for being here.
All right.